Mountain biking isn't all about speed, but if you want to get faster, this video is for you. Today we're going to go through 5 things that will drastically increase your riding speed, and you can implement them straight away. Alright, so the first thing we're going to look at is scrubbing jumps. Well, not so much scrubbing in a sense of, you know, doing those fancy little squashing jumps, I should say. So right here, we're on a section of track. There's a little jump here, which is super annoying, and then there's another one a little bit higher up there. We're going to squash/scrub them. And yeah, I would highly recommend, if you've got any similar jumps on your trails, squash it, because it'll make you so much faster. Essentially, all the squash is doing is, as your bike comes up the takeoff, you're absorbing the bike into you so you don't get shot off the jump. And instead, you just stay nice and low and you can carry your speed nicely. Alright, so the next thing we're going to look at is looking for gaps/pumping everything. So right here, I'm in a very rooty section with a lot of bumps and potential gaps, you could say. So when you're riding, you want to be constantly scanning the trail, looking for little jumps and gaps that can potentially make you faster. So whenever I come into this section, I can see there's a lot of bumps and there's a lot of potential gaps. So the first one I notice is off this little route here, gap down to here somewhere. So just then, you could see me gap from about here down to here, and then another little jump off here. But yeah, it's just a much smoother ride, and ultimately you'll be quicker. So this is another really good example here. There's a plane flying over right now, it's kind of annoying. Instead of just rolling across the top of this and then being met with this sharp rock, you can totally just jump and land on the back side of this rock. Obviously, with something like this, it's not gonna make you heaps faster, but if you start finding these little gaps everywhere, you'll definitely get quicker. Alright, so the next thing we're going to look at, which I actually see a lot of beginners making this mistake, is looking down at their front tire. Don't look at your front tire, and instead, based on the type of trail you're riding, you should be looking maybe 10 to 15 meters in front. If it's a little bit closer, kind of low speed, techie, maybe 5 meters in front. So I'll give you an example here of how I look in front of me. So from those examples, you can kind of see that I'm looking very far ahead, especially on something like this. The further you look ahead, the more time you have to prepare for it. On to the next one. Also, this is a Marin Alpine Trail XR from Bicycles Online. If you guys want to buy something from Bicycles Online, you should use my affiliate link, which is in the description. It helps support the channel, so yeah. Alright, so the next thing we're going to look at is, I would call it being loose on the bike. You could probably say being relaxed on the bike, maybe. What I'm referring to is when you're riding, you don't want to be all tight and, you know, you want to be loose and ready for impacts and ready for stuff. Right here, there's a pretty techie little rock garden/route section. So I'm going to ride through here once looking all tight and janky on the bike, and then I'm going to ride through once again being loose with my knees out and my elbows up and kind of just maneuvering the bike underneath me. So we'll try that now. So as you could probably see just then, especially over this last rock, I was very rigid and my center of gravity wasn't really where I wanted it to be. I was kind of almost going over. Now I'll show you an example of being loose on the bike. If this was a much rockier section, you could understand how having tight arms would be much worse than having loose arms that are ready for impact. And don't worry if you're not able to be loose on the bike just yet, because with confidence comes looseness on the bike, if that makes sense. But yeah, the better and more confident you get at riding, the looser you'll be, and you'll be faster. The last thing we're going to look at is cornering, more specifically braking in cornering, and how if you brake during a corner, it's going to slow you down so much. So we've got a high-speed little chute down here into a corner. Ideally, you don't want to brake anywhere in this corner, and it's weird because the natural thing to do is to brake when you get to a corner. But if you wash off all your speed before the corner, it'll help you carry more speed through it. Let me explain. So let's say, for example, you're coming into this corner, you come in and you're like that, which is probably an ideal lean for a corner just like this one. If you're to brake while you're in this position, it'll actually stand your bike up, which will give you less traction. But if you brake beforehand, if you stop braking about here, then the rest of the corner you can coast on through with full traction, and you can lean your bike as far as you want. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to like it. It helps me out so much. These videos take a lot of effort and I always forget to ask for likes, so please like it. I've also started up a Patreon if you want to go and give that a look. It's a really good way to support the channel, and I'm putting some exclusive content up there as well as some other information that you might be interested in. So give that a look if you want. And anyway, with that out of the way, I'll see you guys in the next one.